Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 2113th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 7th of September 2017. The readers this week are Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The editor was Janet and the production and distribution team is Alan, Ali and Phillip. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Breur, and is performed by Jean-Jacques Perry. It's used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from the Enfield Independent and are their copyright. The event's information has been collated by us from other sources. The local news headlines this week include A New Leader Takes Over and Above the Call of Duty. Before the news, we have one or two special news items and notices. But first, the sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow, the 8th of September. Sunrise 06:23, sunset 19:31. A message from Phillip, our chairman. A big thank you to everyone who supported the Enfield Talking newspaper stall at the Palmer's Green Festival on Sunday, especially Catherine and Dem, who organised the stall, and to the Bishop Laggett family and Pat and John Belcher for running it. We raised £250, which will help us to buy replacement memory sticks. Now a message from the production team. Several memory sticks seem to be going missing in the post. The memory sticks cost just under £5 each. So that we can track what's happening accurately and report it to Royal Mail, please can you let Diane de Jersey know if you receive an empty wallet. Finally, a message from Enfield Vision. This year, our Focus Day will be held on Saturday, the 23rd of September at Community House, 311 4 Street, Edmonton, N9 OPZ, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. The day will be opened by the Chair of Enfield Vision, Diane de Jersey, and the Mayor of the London Borough of Enfield, Councillor Christine Hamilton. This is a unique chance to meet with service and specialist equipment providers and the voluntary sector, organisations helping visually impaired people. All are welcome. We hope to see you there. That's Saturday the 23rd of September at Community House, 311 4 Street, Edmonton, between the hours of 10 and 2. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. That's Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. Now Janet will read the first item of local news.
A new leader takes over. A new leader for the planning and commissioning of healthcare services has been announced. John Waddell is to head Enfield's clinical commissioning group. Mr. Waddell has worked in clinical and managerial roles in industry, local authority and the NHS for more than 20 years. He's eager to start working with his fellow professionals to improve and maintain standards for residents, and said, "I'm delighted to have been appointed as the Chief Operating Officer for Enfield CCG. I am looking forward to working with member practices, staff and stakeholders in Enfield to deliver improved and sustainable health services for local people." A qualified professional speech and language therapist with a BMed Science Honours Speech Science degree from Sheffield University, John has worked at University Hospital Birmingham NHS Trust and South Birmingham Primary Care Trust as lead of stroke services. During this time, he studied for an MSc in rehabilitation at Nottingham University. From 2006, John was the Associate Director of Primary and Community Care Commissioning at Tower Hamlets PCT, where he supported the Pathfinder CCG gain authorisation. Dr. Mo Abedi, chair of Enfield CCG, added, "On behalf of Enfield CCG, I am very pleased that John is going to lead us through the challenging but exciting times ahead."
Above the call of duty, a council worker who came to the aid of a 13-year-old boy who had been sexually assaulted has been praised for going above and beyond the call of duty. Litter Enforcement Officer Anthony Neocleus, aged 30, helped the boy and took him to Edmonton Police Station after he found him wandering the streets cold, hungry and alone. It emerged that the 13-year-old had run away from home, slept rough, and been seriously assaulted the night before by Daniel Mackenzie. Mr. Neocleus provided his patrol footage to the police, as well as a witness statement to aid with the investigation. Mackenzie, aged 26, of Victoria Road, Edmonton, was jailed for 4 years and 10 months after pleading guilty to 1 count of sexual activity with a child under the age of 16. He was also placed on the sex offenders register for life. Councillor Daniel Anderson, responsible for the environment at Enfield Council, praised Mr. Neocleus for his reaction to the boy's situation. He said, "Our enforcement officers are diligent, professional and compassionate people who are trained to deal with a wide range of situations. However, this was an extremely serious and upsetting case which Anthony handled with consummate professionalism. His conduct was exemplary, helping a vulnerable and distressed young person and supporting the police in securing a successful prosecution for a horrendous crime. As a result of his intervention, a paedophile was removed from our streets and is now in prison. This case demonstrates that our enforcement officers are human and, as well as playing an instrumental role in helping to keep our streets clean, safe, welcoming and well regulated, they are also there if members of the public need assistance." Mr. Neocleus, who has been in his current role for about 3 years, explained that he just did what any other person would have done. He added that he and his colleagues are trained to react to various situations.
Celebration
and that he was
time
just glad to
as
be
store
able to
picks
help.
up award. A furniture store has won the top award at an annual ceremony. The 188-year-old Fishpools in Waltham Cross won Member of the Year of Associated Independent Stores, an independent buying group whose suppliers vote for the winner each year. Managing Director Simon Fishpool said, "It's great to be recognised for this award. As an independent retailer, we always try to offer more for both our customers and suppliers, so to know these efforts are making a difference is fantastic." The store was established in 1899 and is now run by a
Here's
fourth
message from the Royal
generation of
National
Fishpools.
Institute for the Blind. Did you know that RNIB has a tax advice service? RNIB has a team of friendly advisors with a direct line to specialist teams in Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, also known as HMRC. They ensure customers with sight loss get help and advice with issues related to income tax, tax credits, VAT relief and other HMRC issues. RNIB can check if you are eligible for extra tax allowances that can reduce your tax bill or be transferred to reduce your spouse's income tax, and they can help you to claim these easily over the phone. For example, the blind person's allowance and the marriage allowance. These extra tax allowances are not paid automatically, so make sure you claim them to ensure you're not being overtaxed. Perhaps you need help with completing a tax form or to register as self-employed. You may want to find out if you're eligible for tax credits, inform HMRC about a change in your circumstances, check your tax code or get correspondence from HMRC in an alternative format. Whatever your tax inquiry, RNIB's tax team can assist you. They help thousands of blind and partially sighted people every year to get their tax right. It's a completely free and confidential service. Please phone RNIB on 0345 330 4897. They are ready to take your call on Monday to Friday from 8:45 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also email them on tax@rnib.org.uk. I'll give you the contact details again. That's the telephone number 0345 330 4897 or email tax@rnib.org.uk.
Stay gas safe. Head down to Enfield Market on Saturday the 16th of September for the first annual Gas Safety Week community event. Local businessman Ibrahim Churul of Real Boiler Servicing and Maintenance has teamed up with Gas Safety Week and the Age UK London Business Directory to bring you the latest information on how to stay safe in your home. With hundreds of incidents each year, it's crucial that people have their appliances checked each year to be assured they are working safely and efficiently. Just one of the many safety issues that the event and Gas Safety Week will be highlighting is CO poisoning. What is CO poisoning? Unsafe gas appliances can produce a highly poisonous gas called carbon monoxide, CO. It can cause death as well as serious long-term health problems such as brain damage. CO is produced by the incomplete burning of natural gas or liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. This happens when a gas appliance has been incorrectly fitted, badly repaired, or poorly maintained. It can also occur if flues, chimneys, or vents are blocked. Oil and solid fuels such as coal, wood, petrol, and oil can also produce CO. CO poisoning occurs when you breathe in the gas and it replaces the oxygen in your bloodstream. Without oxygen, your body tissues and cells die. Even small amounts of the gas can cause CO poisoning, and long-term effects can include paralysis and brain damage. Come down on the day and find out more, and also join in with all the fun activities, including face painting, F1 stimulator, cheerleader performance, bouncy castle, and much, much more. We also have some special visitors, including Enfield Fire Station. That's Enfield Gas Safety Annual Community Event on the 16th of September, 9 till 4:30
urge families
in
to
Enfield
discuss
Market.
organ donation. Two specialist nurses who support families and patients dealing with difficult decisions over organ donation have shared their work experiences. Alice Workman and Helen Foley are based at the Royal Free Hospital and Barnet Hospital and are experts in the field. They wish to encourage families to discuss organ donation openly and are raising awareness. Both nurses are advising anyone who wishes to become an organ donor in the event of their death to sign up to the organ donor register and to inform their family of their wishes. Alice said, "For me, it all comes down to the importance of good end-of-life care. When someone is dying, it is about helping to support their family through that incredibly hard time and making sure they understand the information we are giving them. We know it's a hard conversation to have, but being able to give the gift of life in what is going to be a devastating situation for families can really give lasting comfort to your loved ones. My job makes me realize how generous people can be even when they are going through the worst possible experience. In a state of grieving, they agree to the donation of their loved one and by doing so give the gift of life. Alice and Helen believe that it is imperative that families have all the information, support and time needed to make a decision. Helen added, "We are the patient's advocate. We ensure they are cared for and that their wishes are taken into account. It can be of great comfort to families and loved ones at a time of grief to know they are carrying out those wishes. Whatever the family's decision, the important thing is they have been given that choice and have been able to make an informed decision."
This is a piece about the Enfield Drill Hall and an accompanying picture. This unique Edwardian venue sits on Old Park Avenue near Enfield Town and is included with the Enfield Local Heritage List. Built under a national defence programme, the hall served as a training establishment, target range, administration centre and social club to generations of territorial soldiers. Now it boasts 3 of the best badminton courts in the borough, a versatile meeting room and kitchen, toilet and shower facilities. 10 enthusiastic volunteers have formed a new committee to take over from the long-suffering incumbents who have run it for the past 20 years. If you would like to know more, you should visit www.enfielddrailhall.com.
Coach admits improvements needed in league opener. Ignatians bruised in tough end to the pre-season. Enfield Ignatians may look back on a 60-20 defeat to Norwich as a useful learning opportunity ahead of the start of the London 2 North West League kick-off. From 13 to 10 points ahead, thanks to Dave Gear's try and a couple of Jack Bates penalties, Ignatians allowed Norwich to take control before half-time and conceded 2 cheap scores from which they never recovered. More poorly executed defending followed after the break to give Norwich more of an advantage, and they ran in 3 more tries before Ignatians stemmed the tide briefly with a penalty try of their own. Norwich, however, then resumed normal service with another 3 tries, 2 of which were entirely avoidable. Ignatians coach Ali Cook said, "We failed to build real pressure against a resolute Norwich, and we'll need to match the efforts against Saffron Walden in order to
Those
test
cute
Harrow
little
in
silver
the league,
cylinders.
which starts shortly."
Few of our residents can remain unaware of the significance of these curious objects, now found on almost every street and herbaceous border on the ward. They contain pressurized nitrous oxide, which can be pumped into balloons where the laughing gas is inhaled by partygoers to produce a narcotic effect. Possession and use is not currently illegal, though supply certainly is. The effect is short-lasting, so there's no easy way to prove consumption, since the gas dissipates and breaks down. More significantly is a dramatic increase in fly tipping of bags containing many used cylinders. Some of these are so heavy they cannot easily be removed by one person. The state of affairs is being monitored for Enfield
on antisocial
environmental
behaviour launched. A ban on the possession of legal highs is under discussion in proposals put forward to help police crack down on antisocial behaviour. If approved, having otherwise known psychoactive substances would become as illegal as their production, selling and supplying. Also under consultation is the possible introduction of a Public Spaces Protection Order, or PSPO, is ways in which local authorities can tackle gangs, car cruising and irresponsible dog handling. Illegal parking in close proximity to schools and non-residents loitering in housing blocks and around estates are other concerns councillors want to address. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, Councillor Daniel Anderson, said, "We're determined to work with Enfield residents to tackle antisocial behaviour, and our proposed PSPO will give both the police and Enfield Council additional powers to clamp down on crime and improve safety in our borough. People living in the borough have until September the 18th to make their views known. An initial 12-week consultation in 2016 led to the amending of a draft proposal. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Community Safety and Public Health, Councillor Crystal von Younger, added, Enfield Council will continue to do absolutely everything we can to reduce crime and disorder. We believe that a borough-wide PSPO will play a major role in helping to deter a number of abhorrent behaviours impacting upon residents. However, we want their further help in ensuring we are on the right track, which is why it's important that as many people as possible take part in the consultation. During the 12-week consultation last year, residents were asked what, in their opinion, were the most disconcerting forms of intolerable activities. After results, analysis and an evidence review, amendments were made to incorporate the interests of the public and what they think are the main forms of antisocial behaviour that have an adverse effect on their lives. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Housing and Housing Regeneration, Councillor Amit Oikana, said, we are continually working to build strong communities and we are seeking to make our housing estates safer places. We firmly hold that our proposed PSPO will improve our residents' quality of life by sending a very clear message that this borough takes a dim view of antisocial behaviour. A full list of targeted behaviours is control of alcohol consumption, car cruising, which includes speeding, driving in convoy, racing, performing stunts, sounding horns and revving engines to cause a nuisance, and wheel spins, throwing of fireworks, loitering in and around council estate blocks, intimidatory begging, possession of psychoactive substances, persons windscreen washing or selling goods, prostitution, smoking in enclosed areas such as playgrounds, flying of drones, motor vehicles left on council land or land adjoining the highway for an unreasonable period of time,
ever
and
closer
an
to
illegal
rebuilding the
parking
Tin
around schools.
Tabernacle, a charity that offers emotional support to anyone in distress, struggling to cope with life's challenges, or is at risk of suicide, is getting ever closer to its fundraising target. North London Samaritans is 70% of the way towards raising the £15,000 it needs to contribute towards the rebuilding of Bowes Park's Tin Tabernacle. When the project is complete, the former prefabricated ecclesiastical building, Shaftesbury Hall, will become the base from which the Samaritans help people in crisis. Volunteers are currently using a small flat on the North Circular to take phone calls, but the premises are unsuitable for face-to-face consultations. The Tin Tabernacle would serve both needs. 2 fundraising concerts are organised for September to move ever closer to this goal. These are Allegri's Miserere by candlelight at St Martin in the Fields on Thursday, September the 14th, and a night at the Opera on Friday, September the 15th, planned for the Bounds Green Bowling and Tennis Club. The £15,000 North London Samaritans is fundraising for a top-up to a £545,000 grant from the Big Lottery Fund. Donations stand at a little over £10,000. If all goes to plan, North London Samaritans hope to start rebuilding Shaftesbury Hall in the autumn to open in the summer of 2018. Businesses, community groups wanting to contribute to fundraising or sponsorship should contact North London Samaritans on 020 8368 6789.
Following on from the article Sally read out, here's some information about the school roundabout at Highlands and Grange Park. Enfield Council has taken ownership of the roundabout and road area between Highlands School and Grange Park School. This will now be patrolled by Parking Services Enforcement Officers, and penalty notices will be issued. Cars are no longer allowed to stop, drop off or park there, and parking on the roundabout area is not permitted. New signage is in place. Anyone found regularly parking near the roundabout area and who believes they are exempt from restrictions will be given a warning for obstruction.
My
and if their
nan has
behaviour
always
persists,
been my
may be
everything.
prosecuted.
This is a cry from a grandmother's family, is to embark on a memory walk to fundraise for charity. Spearheaded by one of Pat Zinzan's 6 loving grandchildren, Charlie Fairburn, her family is aiming to raise a minimum of £500 for the Alzheimer's Society. Essex Memory Walk takes place on Sunday the 17th of September in Highlands Park, and £285 has been donated so far. Charlie and the rest of her children have been saddened by the declining health of their much-loved mother, grandmother and great-grandmother. Pat has been a popular member of the Enfield community for the best part of 77 years. Charlie said it is heartbreaking to watch the woman you've looked up to your whole life go from a fun, happy and healthy nan to someone who doesn't want to get out of bed, doesn't know your name and looks straight through you like you're not there. My nan has always been my everything. She spent her life doing everything for her family. So though I cannot stop this illness from getting worse for her, I can try and help others. Charlie's grandmother Pat was born in Enfield in 1939 and grew up in Wolseley Road with her family. Later moving to Central Avenue, Pat married and had 3 children, David, Debbie and Joanne, who have given her 6 grandchildren, who in turn have 6 great-grandchildren. Pat worked at the famed Jennings toy shop for more than 20 years and was well known for her welcoming cup of tea for family and friends and helpful nature. Diagnosis of Alzheimer's and vascular dementia in 2012 came completely out of the blue for her shocked and devastated family. Sadly, her decline has been fast. We saw a rapid deterioration, and unfortunately in November 2015, my nan had to be taken into a care home for her own safety. It was the hardest decision we had to make, but due to the speed of her illness, we had no choice. She's now being looked after by the incredible staff at Ballsmore Lodge in Enfield. I often live with my nan for long periods of time, and I cannot express how loving and caring she was. Although she is still with us, and for that we are grateful, in some ways we are grieving as we have lost the person we knew. To watch my favourite person in the world, who loved her makeup, going on outings with her friends, become a lady who cannot dress herself and need help with bathing is devastating. Pat has also been diagnosed with the onset of Parkinson's disease.
We wish cyclists all the best for event. A family-owned business has made a generous sponsorship donation to benefit a homeless charity. Oak Ray Limited of Enfield presented Network Homes cyclists taking part in the London to Paris bike ride with a cheque for £5,000. All money raised is in support of Network Homes' Charity of the Year, St Mungo's. Staff from Network Homes will be cycling 300 miles from Crystal Palace to Paris. Starting out on Tuesday, September the 13th, they are scheduled to arrive in the French capital on Saturday, September the 16th. Oakray's financial director, Paul Ovenden, who formally presented the donation to Network Homes, said, "We are delighted to be sponsoring this very worthy cause. We work closely with Network Homes to provide the ongoing maintenance of their social housing portfolio and so share their goals of helping to end homelessness. We wish the cyclists all the best for the event." The 4-day tour takes in a road trip to Dover, where they will board a ferry to Calais. Employees of Oakray Limited and Network Homes are also to compete in a series of friendly five-a-side football tournament matches in aid of St Mungo's. Accepting the cheque on behalf of Network Homes, David Gooch, Commercial Director and London to Paris cyclist, said, "We're proud to be supporting St Mungo's cause of ending homelessness and rebuilding lives, as it goes hand in hand with our belief that good homes make everything possible. We're grateful to Oakray for all their support in this cycling challenge and look forward to continuing to
Town
strengthen
edge
our
past
heart."
Harrow Borough with late header. Thomas puts Enfield into the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. Simon Thomas brought a little of the magic of the FA Cup to Enfield Town as his late winner saw them past London rivals Harrow and into the second round of qualifying. Players and fans alike were braced for an unwanted midweek replay until the summer signing struck with moments to go to give Town a 2-1 win at the Queen Elizabeth II Stadium, their first in the Cup since 2015. Thomas proved Enfield's most potent weapon and had Harrow defenders calling for a handball as he wheeled away from scoring a first-half opener. And their mood did not improve when referee Michael Marsh ruled out an equaliser for an infringement by Mark McLeod before the interval. Borough missed a trio of chances to level the scores before Michael Bryan showing them how it was done with an impressive goal straight from a free kick. But with the game heading for a replay at Earlsmead, Thomas's late header sparked relief throughout the stadium and handed the hosts a trip to 8th tier Hanwell Town. Marsh was the main talking point of a largely even first half, and their patience began to waver as early as Enfield's 11th minute opener. Charles Banya had already skied over when Ryan Blake swung the ball in from the right with a cross which Melvin Minter could not hold, leaving Thomas to begin a profitable afternoon with a close-range finish which had more than a hint of handball about it. Town were dealt a blow when veteran defender Darren Pearce hobbled off shortly after, but Joe Wright had only one save to make before half-time, with Borough again incensed that Marsh had not awarded a penalty for another apparent handball by Rob Bartley in the build-up. If they were angry then, they were seething when goal celebrations of their own were cut short by the under-fire referee, and McLeod booked for his part in an infringement which saw it ruled out. Borough made a flurry of second-half substitutions to reignite their flame. Thomas obliged likewise at the other end as Enfield realised the fragility of their one-goal lead, only to blaze wide twice in succession. Fragile it proved too, when Bryan stepped up to fire in a free kick from just outside the Enfield box and beat Wright with a pinpoint strike. The two sides looked to be heading for deadlock, and a second meeting in 4 days. Into the final minutes, especially when Dan Rumans and Thomas both missed chances. But another dead ball delivered into the Harrow box was met by the head of the striker in the final minutes, sparking scenes as relieved as they were delirious. The win gives Enfield a date at Hanwell next,
It's a joy
as
to
well
see
as
young people as role
£3,000 in
models.
prize money.
Athlete inspires congregation. An athlete who struck gold inspired a congregation at his hometown church. Chijindu, or CJ Ujar, who grew up in Ponders End, was at a specially arranged service at Ponders End Methodist Church on Sunday, August the 27th, to honour his achievements. With church gates painted gold, a themed ministration, Going for Gold for God, was given. CJ spoke with Reverend Alan Coombs and fellow churchgoers about the connections between faith and athletic success. CJ explained the training, discipline and sacrifices he has had to make to realise his potential. Reverend Dan Haylett, the Methodist Superintendent Minister of the Enfield area, said, "It's a joy to see young people acting as role models in the community. CJ is studying for a sports science degree while being an international athlete, and Namdi, his brother, has just qualified as a chartered accountant. We are very proud of the Ujar family." Strong connections exist between CJ and the Ponders End Methodist community. He and his brother Namdi were regular attendees when younger, and their father Andy teaches at the young church. The athlete was in the triumphant British 4x100 relay team at the World Athletic Games in Stratford in August, and in an IAAF Diamond League competition in Zurich on August the 24th, he beat world champion 100-metre runner American Justin Gatlin with a season best time of 9.97 seconds. He lives,
Planting
studies
seeds
and
for the
trains in
future.
Arizona.
We've got some lovely pictures of some youngsters putting up trellis and different things and digging in the garden. They look very happy bunch. Young supported housing residents who opened up to each other about their aspirations are planting seeds for a bright future. On a project run by homeless services provider Riverside, 10 18 to 24-year-olds from Enfield Young People's Service forged new friendships in creating an edible garden. They are now asking for similar projects to run in DIY and decorating, which could give them some very useful practical skills when living independently. Sandra Thompson, Riverside's area manager for care and support, said, "As well as the healthy eating aspects, residents have enjoyed coming together and socialising in a setting like this. It's given them the opportunity to talk about their hopes for the future in a natural, non-judgmental environment. Some of our residents have been at risk of becoming homeless. Part of our service is to help them gain the skills they need to become as independent as possible when they leave us. So a DIY project would be a really good idea, and it's something we're looking into." When explaining how the food project began, Sandra added, "It all started when staff arranged a taster session with a Growing Revolution project. They came along to teach us some basics on how to plant and grow different foods. This inspired residents and staff to set up their own food growing project. So we applied for funding and received £250 from the Church Housing Trust to buy tools and plants. We've got access to a choice of produce that's free, healthy, organic and tasty. The residents have really taken this to their hearts. We've had some great feedback from them, in particular that we've enjoyed working outdoors as part of a team, supporting each other and celebrating the fruits of their labours. They've also appreciated the whole cycle of being able to plant something, watch it grow, then cook and eat it. We've now got access to a choice of produce that's free, healthy, organic and tasty. Riverside is the third largest homelessness service provider
from
in the UK.
Defend Enfield NHS, and it's headed NHS Cuts. It wasn't just over 50s forum members who crowded into the meeting room at Beaumont Care Home on August the 15th. See Pensioners' Call to Arms to Stop Draconian Health Cuts in the Enfield Independent on August the 30th. More than 150 people came to a daytime meeting to voice their worries about what was happening to our NHS, as well as opposing the Clinical Commissioning Group's, CCG, efforts to save money by deferring treatment for many ailments. Adherence to Evidence-Based Medicine, or AEBM. Speakers were eloquent and supported by everyone attending. Monty Meth proposed the following statement, which was overwhelmingly agreed. This meeting of Enfield residents urges the governing body of Enfield Clinical Commissioning Group to reject the adherence to evidence-based medicine's proposal and instead to work with local people to reduce health inequalities in the borough and join the campaign for fairer funding for Enfield. Vivian Giladi, in the chair, asserted that these proposals insulted doctors' clinical judgments. They were cuts masquerading as a good thing, but would mean people being in pain or discomfort for longer and could even put them at risk. There was no required impact assessment of what the proposals would mean. There could even be a case for indirect indiscrimination in what they are proposing, because most cuts they are talking about affect older people. Vivian went on to refer to the CCG's use of the term deficit, which was really underfunding. Underspending on the NHS was running at about 1.85 billion a year in 2015-16. The government is demanding savings of 22 billion by 2020-21. If an extra 2.4% of GDP were spent on healthcare to match France and Germany, an additional £49 billion would be available. This was not an opinion. These were the facts as taken from World Bank data. Geoffrey Lever of Defend Enfield NHS said such underspending might be justified if the UK were a poor country, but are we? Healthwatch Enfield was set up in law 4 years ago to try to get health and social care organisations to listen to the voice of local people. This organisation came out in the strongest terms to protest about the plans and to insist they were put on hold. On September the 20th, the CCG meeting should have feedback on the results of their consultation. Many of us will be there at Holbrook House and asking more questions about this unwanted
Therapy
and unneeded
Gardens
package.
win gold.
Why not join?
Specialist gardens designed for patient care, rehabilitation and recovery commended. 2 gardens designed to support patient care, rehabilitation and recovery at Chase Farm Hospital have won the Gold Award in the Enfield in Bloom Best Public Building category. The gardens were funded thanks to an appeal launched by the Chase Farm charity, part of the Royal Free charity, which raised over £130,000 and were officially opened in June this year. The 2 specialist gardens are in the Highland wing of the hospital, located in the Ridgeway in Enfield. The first is a dementia care garden, which uses colour, scent and visual stimulation to evoke memories. It recreates a residential street from the post-war era, complete with period shop fronts, street lamps and even a real Mini. It has been proven that dementia patients respond positively when given free access to outdoor areas. Agitation and aggression is reduced, and there is an increase in memory recall. Tracy Goodman, urgent care matron, said, "The dementia garden is designed to be a trip down memory lane. The idea was always to create something that would help to stimulate patients. When it comes to recovering from a brain injury, this can mean many weeks of prolonged hospital stay for our stroke patients. Patients now have a safe and welcoming space for them to continue their therapy in the fresh air. It's also a great place to simply come and think." The second garden is aimed at patients recovering from a stroke. It is based on a Japanese design and provides a tranquil haven for patients for whom the noise of a busy ward can be overwhelming, as well as a quiet place for family and friends to visit. It also incorporates a gardening project with raised beds to enable patients to participate in gardening activities, all designed to support recovery. The gardens will aid patients' recovery by allowing them to take part in group gardening and horticulture therapy, developing muscle strength and balance, increasing motivation, self-esteem and self-confidence, providing a quiet, peaceful place away from the ward, decreasing anxiety levels, supporting memory recollection for dementia patients, reducing the risk of depression, stimulating the senses through smell and colour, and promoting independence. The therapy gardens were designed by Chris Valiantis, a landscape architect alongside Ollie Neves and their company. Consultation took place with nurses, therapists and patients. The gardens will be used by more than 200 patients every year, along with hundreds more visiting family and friends.
Hard-working enforcement officers are to feature in a daytime television show that highlights efforts made to keep the borough's communities safe, clean and together. Patrols from Enfield Council's Blue Badge Enforcement, Street Trading, Litter Enforcement and Fly Tipping Investigations teams appear in Dom Littlewood's returning TV series, Dom on the Spot. Beginning this month on BBC One, Enfield Council officers can be seen on the show on Wednesday, September the 13th, Thursday the 14th and Friday the 15th. An insight into Enfield's state-of-the-art CCTV centre will be broadcast as part of the series. Cabinet Member for Environment, Councillor Daniel Anderson, said, "Enfield Council's enforcement officers work tirelessly to respond to residents' environmental concerns in a timely and professional manner. They do very difficult jobs, often in challenging circumstances, and this will be seen during the series, and you will also meet some great characters too. So please tune in and show your support." Dom on the Spot and producers 2-4 worked with the council for several days to get an accurate portrayal of the enforcement team's roles. The show is scheduled to repeat in the spring of 2018, but is subject to change at short or no notice.
These are held in St Mary Magdalene Church at the top of Slades Hill from 12:30 to 1, with an option afterwards to have a ploughman's lunch with soup for £3.50. Next up, on September the 13th, Susanna Knight, Michael Lovejoy, Roddy Elmer, oboe, violin and piano. On October 11th, the Serafini Trio, harpsichord, baroque flute and violin. And November the 8th, Olive Murray, voice. On December the 13th, Michael and Marion Smith on organ and piano.
Confused about cutting calories. Health officials are now calling for targets to be set to cut the calories in popular foods amid concerns children are consuming too much. NHS figures suggest obesity rates in UK children are continuing to rise. Of course, it's a big concern, but it can be an extremely confusing issue for parents. And as Chris Smith, Senior Lecturer in Health and Social Care at the University of Central Lancashire, points out, healthy eating is not just about calories. Official guidelines suggest school-aged children need 1,600 to 2,500 calories a day. However, it also depends on their body weight and activity levels. As with adults, if you're generally healthy, active and mindful of having a balanced diet, you shouldn't need to obsess about calorie counting. Chris notes, calories have become almost a catch-all measurement for the value of food, and on their own, they are not a useful guide for parents or their children. It is far more important to focus on the nutritional value of the food we give our children. Ultimately, numbers and guidelines, the body mass index, BMI, for example, have their place, but they don't tell the whole story. If you're concerned about your child's weight or BMI measurement, remember you can always talk to your GP for advice. Try to avoid pressuring yourself or your child into eating the ideal diet, says Chris. Simple advice would be to introduce a variety of different foods into your child's diet. Even if they don't like something the first time, don't be afraid to reintroduce these again. Studies have shown it takes at least 6 introductions to a new food until children form a preference. Try to avoid bribery, such as offering their favourite foods as a reward for eating healthy foods they don't like. This just strengthens the preference for the reward food. From sitting down together at mealtimes to cooking together at weekends, kids love helping out. Remember, food can be fun and kids will respond to your signals. It's important to promote a positive attitude towards food with children by involving them in the selection and preparation, as well as the consumption of it, says Chris. Plus, diet is just part of the picture. Being active, getting plenty of time outdoors, exploring and
We've reached the
having
end
fun.
of our programme for this
all
week.
play
Thank
an
you for
important
listening.
part too.
So from the team of Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound.